You guys are so cute. Junior Jangles, I'm sorry, no leopard print today. But Yaya, congratulations, you're about to be a college graduate. So it's so nice to see everybody. Happy Friday. We have some very interesting stories to discuss. Brad Bresson says, happy 14 months in my BTT community. I really oh yes, well congratulations. I hope you're enjoying fatherhood. And hey, Dat Boy. Yeah, you guys, it's so nice to see all of you. So yeah, it's almost the weekend, and for some of you it is. We're going to go over these 3 stories. And then, of course, as always, at the end of the stream, you may ask me anything you like for the final 10 minutes. Hey, Morph. Hey, Morph. Thanks for gifting a membership. Please try and keep your comments and questions to the story at hand. I'll open up each you can, of course, comment as much as you like while I'm talking, but I'll pay attention more to your questions and comments at the end of each section. And we got a doozy to start with. Here we go. Story number 1. Boop. Megalopolis. Ooh, Megalopolis. Hey, Rashad. Thanks, Rashad. Megalopolis, of course, is Francis Ford Coppola's either his opus or his blunder. But it's a $120 million movie that he largely paid for by himself. And, the idea was hopefully, because, he's Francis freaking Ford Coppola, that somebody would be willing to distribute it. He's had no takers, so his presentation at Cannes was really his opportunity to see if he could maybe get someone to change their mind. So we're going to talk about, it's called Megalopolis, all right? We're going to talk about the movie first from like the media and fan perspective, and then from a business perspective. That's right, Aubrey Smalls, it is Megaflopolis. That's pretty funny. It's not our money. All right. Francis Ford Coppola, they asked him and they said, what do you think about spending so much money on this movie? I'm shocked that he has $120 million of his own that he could drop on this. But he said, he's not going to miss it when he's gone. But it's like, dude, don't you have like a huge family? I'm sure they're a little bit, what are they going to do with Megalopolis? Although apparently he has given some of them roles or very small roles in the movie. Robert and Morphed pointed out that he sold his wine business to fund the film. Oh, that's got to hurt. That's got to hurt everybody. I mean, that's a lot of money down the drain. I guess for the sake of art. I mean, it's very funny because you remember like a couple of months ago, everybody talked about the fact that guys can't stop thinking about the Roman Empire. And Francis Ford Coppola really proved it because the movie is basically like a modern day Roman Empire set like in a fictional New York City. But that's why, it's apparently a very bizarre film, which some people are regarding as high art and some people are regarding as, a huge mistake. So first recent stage was that the trailer came out, the first full trailer, and everybody was kind of getting excited about it. And they were like, ooh, maybe Francis Ford Coppola's cooking. But then also at the same time, there was a controversy that came out with him kind of getting a little bit too friendly with extras and, not running a very good set. And, it was not a great look. It was certainly not something that the film needed. So, from a business perspective, we'll get to that in a moment, but I will just say, who wants to get involved in that? All right. Then, though, he came to Cannes. You can see him there. He's quite the entertainer. He's got his straw hat. He's up front there going like cha-cha. He's owning it. And as I said, there's a divided reaction. Really kind of a competition for who could have the funniest reaction on social media. There were some pretty funny ones. I've seen some comparisons to The Room and Jupiter Ascending. And this seems to be, at the level of Ishtar and Heaven's Gate. Movies that were, you would think, too big to fail, but yet failed spectacularly. The film does seem somewhat interesting from an artistic perspective. For instance, I'm shocked that they would allow this to be ruined, although it does beg the question, how would this be executed once the movie was released, in thousands of theaters? But there's a moment in the film where a real life person steps forward and says something, and Adam Driver in the film answers them. So that would require real life actors to be at the theaters screening the film to step out and to perform that part. So I'm not sure how that would work. Except maybe, it can't be $120 million like exhibition that's only at a couple of places. And then also, thanks Dre Films, and then also, the movie, it's very long. So it's not like, oh, well, I'll sit through 20 minutes or an hour to see if maybe, if maybe there's something here. But I think except for diehard cinephiles who, I think a lot of people in Megalopolis, if it eventually comes out, and I think it will in some capacity, I think there will be a lot of cinephiles who go to see it just to see it for themselves. But I think it'll be a big thing on social media for one weekend with people trying again, just like the media was competing for funniest reaction. You're going to have people competing, for funniest reaction on social media, right? They're like, oh, I got to take a picture of my Megalopolis tickets, and then I'm going to tweet about, or Instagram or TikTok about whether or not I made it all the way through the film, right? Now, that's the perspective of people who don't have any skin in the game, okay? Now let's talk about the potential, of someone maybe deciding to distribute this thing. So the real problem with this movie, Adam Sphere is like, I'm kind of into it. Yeah, I think there's a way to potentially sell it, but I don't know if you could sell it to make back its money. That's the problem. This movie cost $120 million make before the advertising campaign and before the awards campaign. So that's an incredible amount of money, and I just don't see any way to get it back. I think, you can tweet about it without having to see it, and it just becomes very problematic. Francis Ford Coppola so far has released it himself. I can see that AG said, well, what about A24 or Neon? And I can see a number of people have said that. But I think the $120 million budget keeps those companies from being able to do it. We'll talk about the potential deal in a moment. But first, I want to point out that Francis Ford Coppola has been so far distributing this himself. He took it to Cannes himself. He launched the trailer on his own YouTube channel. And then also, he secured an IMAX window. However, IMAX did say that window was contingent on him securing an actual distributor. So they're holding a place for Megalopolis, but they're not going to go through with it unless he's able to secure a distributor. So what is the potential deal? Now, a distributor does not have to totally refund Francis Ford Coppola's money. They do not have to give him the full $120 million. But I'm sure he's looking for them to ease some of the pain. So they would have to go somewhat in on the budget. So I don't know how much he's looking to recoup. Maybe none of it. Maybe because things are looking so bad, he would be willing to just not recoup the 120. However, I'm sure he's looking for the distributor to pay for the ad campaign, which would be at least about $20 to $30 million. And then also to run an awards campaign, which is a couple $1 million on top of that. So you're looking at a big investment, of like, I don't know, maybe about $60 million, conservatively, when you consider the ad campaign and the awards campaign. Now, some of you are saying Netflix has the money, Amazon has the money, Apple has the money. They do. And, you might, in a different, if there wasn't a little movie called Babylon, you think they might be willing to roll the dice. But there is a movie called Babylon. There is a comp, and it's not good. So let's go over that, all right? So if I was like, do I want to buy this crazy thing? Do I want to take this ride with Francis Ford Coppola? Hopefully one of my advisors would step forward and say, no, look at Babylon. You don't want to do it. So Babylon, which significantly derailed, not the careers of any of the talent involved, but it did derail the career of, what's his name? What's this director's name? He did Whiplash and La La Land. He was really doing well. And Damien Chazelle. Ha-ha, I got it. All right. So Damien Chazelle just totally ruined his career. And he's even recently admitted he knows that there's no freaking way that anyone's ever going to give him a budget like this again. And it wasn't as big as Francis Ford Coppola's. This was around $70 to $80 million that he spent to make this, not including the advertising campaign and the awards campaign. Now, some of you liked it, as I'm seeing, but yet here is the problem. And I remember when it came out. I know people who liked it, but when it came out, there were people who were championing Babylon. But again, we can see the future of Megalopolis because this was the effect of that championing. So the Rotten Tomatoes score only got to 57%, not much higher than Megalopolis, and the audience score was only 52%. So that never materialized, despite, again, some people liking the film quite a bit. It did not look good on Rotten Tomatoes. Then when you factor in the cinema score, it was a C+. A C+ for Babylon. My God. C+ is really, really bad. If you're a horror movie, that's fine. But for anything besides that, it's an absolute disaster. All right, but you know what? Maybe people went to see it. They did not. There's the box office. The box office, as you can see, is awful. 15.3 domestic, 48.2 worldwide, total of 63. You only get about 50% of that back from the distributor, so you're getting about, 31 million. And again, the movie cost about $75 million to make before advertising and the awards campaign. But, maybe it was recognized during the awards season, right? Well, it got some Golden Globe nominations, but look at these Oscar nominations. Only 3. And it didn't win any of them. Costume design, best original score, and best production design. Hey, Vin. Bashenga, that's a good question. Nobody knows how Babylon did on digital. They don't really release those numbers. However, I think if it had done really well on digital, Damien Chazelle wouldn't still be going around saying, boy, that movie really hurt my career. He's still saying it to this day. So otherwise he'd be like, I prevailed on digital. So, that's the issue. Okay, we'll do a poll, Big Red. We'll do a poll on Megalopolis. Would you watch Megalopolis? Yes, in theaters. Yes, piracy. Yes, digital streaming. And then, no thanks. I'm good. All right. Anyone can vote in a poll, by the way. You don't have to be a member to vote in the poll. Members can comment but in the live chat, but anybody can vote in the poll. So you just have to click on it and your voice will be heard. So I think that if Babylon didn't exist, I think maybe somebody would pick up this movie. As long as Francis Ford Coppola was willing to not have any of his budget recouped. If Francis Ford Coppola was willing to say, hey, you don't have to give me any money for makeup for the film, but I need you to pay for the ad campaign and the awards campaign, I could see maybe somebody going in on that. But because you have Babylon as a recent example with people who loved it, some people loved Babylon. It was a big debate at the time, as you might recall. And it still was never able to materialize. So I do think that this will probably end up being in some theaters. I think Francis Ford Coppola will get it out to the masses somehow. But I think that the 50% score just isn't good enough. And also, I saw some of you commenting, Adam Driver. I love Adam Driver. A lot of us love Adam Driver, but he's got to stop picking such bad movies. I'm really starting to lose faith in his ability to select a film. White Noise, Ferrari, and now Megalopolis. I mean, I'd be like, Adam, you got to pick something that people are going to like. All right, does anybody have any questions or comments about this before I close the poll and move on to the next story? Classic Bunny Librarian, Adam Driver was fantastic in Marriage Story. He's a wonderful actor. I think he's really good. I think he's great. But, he's picked some really bad movies. Gian Quesadilla says, it's kind of funny that Francis Ford Coppola accidentally made a BioShock adaptation. That is pretty funny. If only BioShock was involved. Art Lover and Atmosphere, I kind of liked 65 in the House of Gucci. House of Gucci fell apart at the end, but I liked part of it. And that's right, 5-Star Gaming. Adam Driver is one of the best Saturday Night Live hosts. Fritz Fromm says, could Coppola legally distribute it by himself if he paid the cinemas himself? I don't think you need to pay a cinema anything. I think he could, although, of course, you could see that IMAX said that he has to have a distributor. I mean, maybe, let's see what Francis Ford Coppola is willing to do, what concessions he's willing to make to get a distribution deal. I mean, does he have any money left in the tank? Is he willing to pay for more of it? What is he willing to do? Blair Wraith says, it's been a while since Marriage Story, and that was his best role so far. You got to keep going. Hey, Aralysis, thank you for gifting a membership. Let's see here. So, that's funny. Morphed says, what else does Coppola have to sell? Don't do it, Coppola. Don't throw more money down the drain. Hey, movies, TV reviews. Today's your birthday. Did you decide what movie that you want to see? Happy birthday. Warren P. says, Grace, when actors pick movies, is it a team effort? Does Adam Driver need a better team assisting him? I would be shocked if there was a team of agents and managers who are guiding him in this direction. I suspect that Adam Driver is picking projects based on the caliber of the director, the creative people who are involved in it, and he has really bad luck in getting like their worst projects. Like, if, Noah Baumbach came to you, or Michael Mann, or Francis Ford Coppola and said, hey, man, you want to be in my new movie? You'd be like, yeah, of course. I'd love to work with somebody so talented. And it's just going horribly. It's going really bad. Nacho Flores says he's not reading those scripts. I don't know. Like, maybe, some of you, I saw someone point out earlier that, Megalopolis has had a script for decades. I think he's just putting too much faith in the creatives. And, I think he's been so badly burned at this point, I think he should focus more on the projects themselves. SMR Goose says maybe he's seeking awards. Maybe, I don't know, because people are going to eventually maybe think he's the curse. They'll be like, don't put Adam Driver in your movie. These amazing people just go down the drain. Stephen Turner says, between the casting of Shia and the other on-set stories, it seems like too much drama for a not well-received film. I don't know. Is Shia still canceled? I know he's done a lot to try and come back. He's done the work. I don't know if Shia LaBeouf is like in the same place as some other people. Danny, I don't know if I'm going to review it. I mean, like, if I was at Cannes, I would have reviewed it. But I don't know if there'll be any interest in it by the time it trickles down to, like, theaters. Let's see here. Is it also Resident Justice's birthday? A lot of birthdays today on the stream. All right, hold on. Let me close the poll. All right, here, let's see. Would you watch Megalopolis? 41% of you said, no, thank you. You won't watch it at all. So that's another reason that a distributor will be like, good luck, Francis. 23% of you will watch it in theaters. Another 23% of you would watch it on digital streaming, while 10% of you would sail the 7 seas for free. That's not great, as you can see. I just really don't think, why would you distribute it? I just feel like it's just way too risky. That's the problem. All right, so that's the first story of the day. All right, hold on. Jamie, happy early birthday for Sunday. Woo, birthdays for everybody. Woohoo, woohoo. All right, story number 2. Boop. Oh, no, sorry, Rachel Kondo. All right, there we go. Oh, no, I'm covering up Lady Mariko. There we go. That's a little better. All right. Speaking of contingencies, the rumor is Blair Wraith. Sorry, was this film ever test screened? I think the problem with you directors is they never want to take notes. Blair Wraith, I think this film is such a mess. Megalopolis. I don't think that testing it could help. At least let Coppola go down the way he wants. Because, if you're going to test a film, that implies that you're willing to do reshoots and to change it. Hey, Josh, thanks for gifting a membership. All right, so back to Shogun. So speaking of contingencies, the rumor is that Hiroyuki Sanada signed on for another season, now apparently 2 more seasons, only if they find a viable way forward. So he's like, I'm only going to do it if they like what they're doing. But I got to tell you, I think they're going to find a way because it's official, because FX has officially moved Shogun in the Emmys out of the limited series category and into the drama category. So it's done. So they wouldn't have done that if they were not intent on continuing the show. So they've renewed it for potentially 2 more seasons. And I saw a very nice tweet from Justin Marks today. He's the dude right here. This dude, Justin Marks. And there's Rachel Kondo. They are the showrunners, creators of the show, and the head writers. And Justin Marks put out a very nice, long tweet, multi-parts, where he said that, this crazy ride, we weren't even sure it was going to work. And then he said, I'm heading to Japan tomorrow, which I guess is today, because this tweet was late yesterday. So he said, I'm heading to Japan tomorrow. Me and Rachel are going to Japan to meet up with the writers and to just explore Japan and to see if we can find those seasons 2 and 3. And I'm sure, again, as I said, he will find it. But that's a really nice framing device, right? Thinking of him on this artistic journey of trying to find the story in Japan itself. And I do think that it helps the show that it has so much Japanese talent behind the camera. I think that helped The Last Airbender, too. A lot of overall Asian talent that worked on that show. So he's in Japan, and, it's based on a book, but it's also based on history, right? Adam Sphere says, I want more Game of Thrones-like historical TV. I think it's going to get, and by the way, Marduk says, excellent tweet from Justin Marks. It was a great tweet. Everyone in the comments suddenly was okay with new seasons. They were like, oh, that's great, Justin. Have fun. We can't wait for more seasons. So he's got that going for him. So Justin's very good with PR. It's based on a very popular book, but it also, of course, is based on history. So they could always follow that, it's talking about the guy who started started Tokyo. Edo became Tokyo. And then apparently he did actually usher in an age of peace. I don't know how exciting that's going to be on television, but I'm sure, it took some crazy stuff to get there. But then also, very importantly, the estate of James Clavell, who wrote the Shogun novel, he's still involved. That estate is still very much involved. So they got that going for them. So there's someone from the James Clavell estate is going to stand there and go, we approve this. So I think it's not bad. I think they'll find something. I mean, it's scary because, of course, when Game of Thrones ran out of source material for the final season, that was a disaster. It was so bad. It was an epic disaster. It was like Megalopolis bad. And everybody shuddered and was shocked. However, House of the Dragon's a great show. And but again, it has books to draw on. But I think they got the right talent to. I think the team behind House of the Dragon maybe wouldn't have made a lot of the same mistakes. Although I gotta say, Benioff and Weiss just got 3-Body Problem renewed, so you never know what's going to happen in Hollywood. But yeah, I think I have a lot of faith in Justin Marks and Rachel Kondo and the creative team that they've put together. So Hiroyuki Sanada. Although Hiroyuki Sanada's made a lot of crap, especially in Hollywood. So it's scary stuff. But I told you before that this show was so successful, particularly for Hulu and Disney Plus, that I would certainly try it. Some people might be like, no, you'll ruin the first season. Who cares? From a business perspective, in the world of streaming where people are like, where viewers are like, give me more, that's what everybody wants. I think the legacy of the show doesn't really matter to the company. They're like, it's worth the risk, to try and get 2 more seasons. And I got to tell you, I think they'll be able to do it. I do. I really do. And I'm very excited about it. And I think everybody will watch. Everyone will watch. It'll be very successful. Now, interestingly, Cosmo Jarvis, I think, there's been no talk about his deal. But since it's been made pretty clear that he never leaves the Japans, as he likes to say, he should be right there. And what else is Cosmo Jarvis doing? She'll certainly sign on. But a lot of people have said, how is this show going to move forward without Anna Sawai, a.k.a. Lady Mariko? And I must admit, the meme alone that came out of this picture with, the engine saying something and then the interpreter giving like a very very bare bones, bottom line, hilarious version of it was fantastic. But, I think they're going to find something. I think there are a lot of wonderful actresses out there. I mean, Anna Sawai has been talking a lot about, there were already great other actresses on the show in season 1. But Anna Sawai has been talking about the fact that she wasn't able to audition for some things early on in her career because she was under contract for some music group. But then she's talking about other actresses who ended up getting those roles. And I got to tell you, they did a great job. So I feel like they'll find somebody. I think that you'll certainly come up with some different female lead. And I'm sure she'll be fabulous. Cosmo's good. Blackthorn's probably going to meet somebody. So I think, especially if it doesn't leave the Japans. So I think it'll be fine. Adam Sphere says, don't spoil the show, please. Well, I won't give you any details. But yeah, I saw somebody say that they were now going to watch Shogun because it's coming back. And I think that's, another reason to do 2 more seasons, because that's like the name of the game is to get you to click and to make you watch it. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not coming back and I just didn't get around to it and now it's over. But now people are like, oh, it's coming back. I better watch it. Oh, was that you, Keith? I think it was. And then also when it does hopefully really well at the Emmys, we saw a couple of Emmy bumps for the previous Emmy Awards. Remember we were looking at Nielsen and a couple of the Bear got a big bump and stuff like that. So I think that when it does really well during the Emmys, I think people will be like, especially because it's going to come back, they're like, we should watch Shogun. So I think that's another reason that they decided to do this. But I know some people are upset about it. I do agree, Danny, we need some more battles. I'm sure they'll find something. It'll be great. So I'm excited. Poke, you might want to log off because I'm going to talk about the Young Sheldon finale. I'm not going to talk too much about what happens on the show overall because let's go over to that. But before we go to that, does anybody have any questions or comments about Shogun? Maisie says, I do not agree with this, but money is the name of the game. It's a risk. It is a risk for sure, Maisie. Classic Bunny Librarian says, was Hulu's last big drama Handmaid's Tale? I think it might have been. I think Fargo is kind of good for them too, but it's not the level of Shogun. We're not there yet, Rodolfo, but I admire your tenacity. SMR Goose says, when are they going to even air season 2? They're still exploring it. So I think it's going to be at least 1 to 2 years. Brandon says, I'm hoping to start Shogun this weekend and I am so excited. I wonder if knowing 2 more seasons are coming will change my viewing at all. That's interesting. That's an interesting question, Brandon. It's a fantastic binge. You're going to have such a good weekend. Wow, I'm a little jealous. You're going to have such a good time. That show is phenomenal. Morphed, I don't know if they'll bring in other people from, characters from other parts of the world into the show. But we'll see. I think, they're not going off of the book anymore. And there were a number of people who were traveling at the time. So they could maybe come up with some interesting things for sure. As long as it's based on actual history. I think part of what makes Shogun work is that it's based on stuff that actually happened. And I think that there was diversity in Japan for real. Morph, you just pointed that out. There is a precedent for black samurai in real life. So, I think that would be worth looking into. Adam Sphere says, will showrunners start developing historical dramas from other countries and civilizations? I wouldn't be surprised if I were a development executive. I'd certainly be looking into it. I watched the 10 Commandments again for Easter. And I really like the stuff about ancient Egypt, and the Pharaoh and all that stuff. I thought that was cool. So I'd be into seeing that stuff. I think bringing history to life through these shows could be really fun. So I think there are and I think particularly when you find a corner of the world that the West hasn't explored that much, I think it becomes even more interesting. Marduk, I don't know about the Mayan and the Aztec civilizations. That could be interesting. Have you ever, obviously the Mel Gibson movie, Apocalypto, was phenomenal. Care Bear says, is this the show to beat for the Emmys? I think it's going to be tough. Let me see. I'll tell you who's in the drama category, because it's really. I mean, it's not like it was any easier in limited series. By the way, the Emmy nominations come out on July 17th. Okay. All right, so who's competing? All right, so Variety has their little. Variety does a nice job of like kind of like doing like betting, you know, like who's first and stuff. And they have Shogun as number 1. So FX is like, yes, we were right to switch. And I gotta say, looking at the contenders, I think Shogun maybe could win it. I think it has a better chance of winning in drama than it does in did in limited series. All right, so the competition is Shogun, The Crown, Fallout, drama. That seems like a comedy to me. The Morning Show, The Curse, Three Body Problem, The Gilded Age. Oh, I love The Gilded Age, but it's no Shogun. And then Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Isn't that also a comedy? Then some other runner-ups are Slow Horses, Loki, Winning Time. Winning Time. Ahsoka, Justified, City Primeval, Sugar, and Tokyo Vice. Oh man, this is so weak. Shogun is really smart to go to this category. My God. Let's see who the... Hold on, let me go and tell you who's in limited series. This is actually brilliant. Limited series. Okay, limited series. Baby Reindeer is considered the top. True Detective Night Country, Lessons in Chemistry from Apple TV, Fellow Travelers on Showtime, and oh yay, Ripley! Oh, I would love Ripley to get some attention. Then after that, Fargo, Feud, Capote versus the Swans, Masters of the Air, The Sympathizer, and All the Light We Cannot See. Oh, so weak, these categories. Whew. But yeah, I think Shogun would have a hard time opposite Baby Reindeer and True Detective Night Country. But I think it's almost guaranteed to win in the drama category. Oh, it's going to be good. That's exciting stuff. Wow. I didn't know that television was so weak this year, but I guess when you look back at it, you can kind of see that. All right, let's go to the third story of the day. Boom, baby. All right, the Young Sheldon series finale aired last night. And I never watched Young Sheldon, although we've seen it blow up on streaming, right? Huge hit on streaming. So I've been keeping an eye on it. It is very popular. But I loved Big Bang Theory. And they said that Amy and Sheldon would be back. And so I was like, I got to see that. So I DVR'd it. And then I fast forwarded it and just watched the Amy and Sheldon sequences. So I'm only going to talk about that, just so you know, okay? All right, so during the upfronts, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel made a really funny joke. You know, he does a roast when he does Disney's presentation. So he did a roast, and he said that CBS, he said Young Sheldon is ending, and he's sure that somewhere on a whiteboard at CBS is written Old Sheldon? Now, that's a very funny joke, but I got to tell you, is it a joke? Because when I saw Jim Parsons on the show last night, reprising his role with Mayim Bialik as Amy, they were right back as good as they always were. And I saw real potential. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, and he was playing a much older version of Sheldon, which was interesting. They already have a spinoff planned, a different type of spinoff. But I got to tell you, I was looking at it and I was like, I think you could bring them back. I think you could bring back Jim Parsons and Mayim Bialik as these characters. And they had a great setup for them, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Now, the only problem is that Mayim Bialik has had a little bit of controversy, which kind of was evident when she was one of the Jeopardy hosts. Not everybody was thrilled about that. But I think it could work. I mean, they're just so good in the roles. I think it could work. All right, so what was so clever about it is that they have two children. The children were not on the show because I guess they didn't want to cast them yet. They didn't want to be stuck. Adam Sphere says, how many nerd jokes can a writer come up with? Well, that's interesting because they changed it, and it was really interesting because they gave them one son who was named Leonard, which was I thought that was really great that Sheldon named his son after his best friend. I hope nothing happened to Leonard. And then also he has a daughter. But they first talked mostly about the son and how that's why Amy's wearing a hockey jersey, and that Sheldon's son is the opposite of him. He is a jock. He apparently takes after the rest of the Cooper family, which was highlighted on young Sheldon. So genetics are a funny thing. So, it's like the reverse of young Sheldon, where suddenly the parents are the nerds and the kids are, very different. So I think that's really interesting. And they had, oh yeah, that's right, maybe he named him after Leonard Nimoy. But it's still Leonard. It's still his friend Leonard as well. But I guess maybe he'll bring that up all the time and be like, it's after Leonard Nimoy, thank you very much. But the whole point was like, he didn't want to go and support his son playing hockey. But then Amy pointed out that Sheldon thrived because even though he was different than his parents, they still supported him, even though they didn't understand him. So the idea that Sheldon would then grow up to have a child that he didn't understand, so it would be like a reverse of the dynamics on young Sheldon, to me was really clever. And I thought that sounded wonderful. I would love to see Sheldon as a parent with a child who was so different from him. And then also they discover that his daughter, because Penny babysat, I thought that was funny, wants to take acting lessons. And I thought this was a great setup for a show. I was like, wow, you got a show right there. I mean, I would definitely tune into that. I just thought it was great. I mean, we'll see if they decide to do it. It would be very expensive. And, Jim Parsons has so much money off of Big Bang Theory, as the whole cast, that he never needs to work again. But he did do this Young Sheldon show. He does do, Manco pointed out that it would be highlighting an autistic parent. That would be very interesting as well. I think it would be just fantastic. Manco would watch. I would watch. I think it's just a really great idea. And obviously Jim Parsons is behind Young Sheldon. He's a producer on the show. So he clearly still wants to work. And I think it's been long enough that maybe he would be willing to reprise the role. It was very funny. I thought it worked. They had a lot of older jokes, for someone who was an adult, like a full adult. Like, Sheldon was talking about the fact that he didn't wear comic book t-shirts anymore. And he said, oddly, they all disappeared. And, Amy kind of like made a face because she just threw them out. And I thought that was very funny because, I think Amy is a good, she's a very good match for Sheldon. And they were very funny the way they were talking. They were arguing. And then when she left the room, Sheldon said all these years and the passion's still there. And I just thought it was great. I just thought it was, it was such a different take. And it seemed like it was like what we all loved about the show, but yet it was also like, I think, very refreshing. So I like it. Does anybody have any questions or comments about this? Hey, Tiff. Morph says they talk like warring AI. It would be interesting to see Sheldon dealing with some of the advanced technology of today. Poke, I'm glad you loved young Sheldon so much. That's wonderful. It was clearly very special to a lot of people. Oh, okay. Marduk says poll. Poll. Okay, I'll poll you on this. Would you watch an old Sheldon show? Heck yeah. Maybe. And then let it die. All right. Anyone can vote in a poll again. You don't have to be a member to vote in a poll. Oh, Senior Lullaby, that's so cute about your dad. I hope you cheered him up. Carmelo says the show seems so much better without the laugh track. You think the show will ever have a laugh track again? Well, it's interesting that you ask that because they said that the spinoff is going back to a multi-camera sitcom with an audience. Justin says, great stream, Grace. I just finished 5 popsicles, a bag of Sun Chips, and a whole box of yogurt-covered pretzels. Thanks for being the best part of the day. You're definitely having a Friday there, Justin. I'm glad you're all ready for the weekend. Sheldon, you've never watched The Big Bang Theory? Oh, you've got to watch it. Hazel, you've never seen it as well? Oh, it's such a phenomenal show. It's on Max. You can watch it right now. It's great. I watched it again during the pandemic, and I loved it. I agree, Marduk. I miss sitcoms. Sitcoms are fantastic. Wow, a lot of you have never seen this show. Never seen Young Sheldon or never seen Big Bang Theory? Because I've never watched Young Sheldon either. All right. Hold on. Close the poll in just a minute. I'm glad we're keeping you company at the gym there, Onifer. All right, I'm going to close the poll, and then we'll do the Ask Me Anything. Okay, would you watch an old Sheldon show? 47% said let it die. 27% said heck yeah, though, and 25% said maybe. So that's encouraging. I say we go for it. Dancing Dog 60, thank you for gifting those memberships. Austin says, if you were a fan of Big Bang Theory, why didn't you watch Young Sheldon? Because it wasn't a sitcom. So I mean, that interested me less. You know, I like the sitcom format. And then also, you know, it was more like a Wonder Years type show. And that just really wasn't something that I was interested in. I liked the science nerdy aspect of Big Bang Theory. Harlequin Dove said, so is Sheldon officially autistic? I don't know if they've ever made it official. But I think he clearly is. All right. All right. Let's do the Ask Me Anything portion of the show. Hold on. All right. It's 2:17. You can ask me anything you'd like until 2:27. Five-Star Gaming, I did watch Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and you're saying as a massive Ghostbusters fan, Afterlife included, you were very disappointed. I wouldn't say I was very disappointed, but it was as weak as I expected it to be. I still had a good time. I think I mentioned it on the live stream before. I was watching it, and like 2/3 of the way through, I was like, wait a minute, wasn't Paul Rudd in this movie? Where'd he go? Bye, Morphed. Oh, let's see here. Anya Kosel says Sheldon is an autistic coded character, but they need to make it official. That would be great if they did. Maybe they're a little nervous about how it would, you know, maybe they would feel more restricted. But I think it's pretty clear that he is, and it would be nice to make it official, I think. Resident Justice says, should we expect a trailer on Monday to go alongside a certain movie tickets going on sale? Also, thank you for all the streams and videos. Having a stream today has made my birthday even better. Hooray! Don't get me in trouble, please. I don't think there's going to be a full trailer. That's all I'll say. Cat Chick says, I wish everyone a good, I don't know what day that is. Well, I'm not quite sure what that hashtag stands for. But yes, of course. Oh, International Day it seems for the LGBT community. Oh, I didn't know that's what today was. Well, yes, of course. Definitely want to be supportive of that. Oh, Dory Does Voices is also at the gym. I love keeping you guys company. Danny, my next movie review will be If. I, in fact, just finished it, and it will go up in about an hour or so. Cody says, I'm going to northern Italy soon to visit some filming locations from Call Me By Your Name. Have you ever visited a real-life location from a movie? Yeah, I've seen some, you know. I think a lot of times what happens is that I'll watch a movie and it has a location that I've been to, which I think is really, really interesting and always fun. And, you know, that's always fun to see. I hope you have a good time. That movie was gorgeous, so you're obviously going to be seeing some beautiful locations. AG says that anytime you watch an IMAX, Grace, you always see it at Lincoln Square. I prefer the Dolby at Lincoln Square, to be honest with you. Also, it's such a hassle to get those IMAX tickets, and the seats are so close together. It makes me a little claustrophobic. But I've discovered there are some wonderful IMAX screens in the city. The Kips Bay IMAX is fantastic. It's not as big, but it's a great experience. There are a couple really nice premium screens in the city. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, Art Lover. Oh, let's see here. Jico, what are my thoughts on Agatha All Along's new release date of September? I think that's great. I mean, it's very close to Beetlejuice, so that's tough. But I think obviously it's great for the fall, the Halloween season. Maisie said, what's a film that most people didn't like that you absolutely loved and thought it was misunderstood? I know you loved Speed Racer. I did. I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, it's hard to think of another film like that. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I mean, Speed Racer would be the one I would mention. Hey, Tillman. Let's see here. Nacho says, hey, Grace, as if Ryan Reynolds is Doolittle. Oh, no, it's not that bad. Let's see here. MM92 says, hi, Grace, happy Friday. What are your top 3 recommended horror films? Ooh, The Shining. I love The Shining. I guess the first Scream. Oh, and then The Orphan by J.A. Bayona. That's a really scary movie. Kayla Babb says, Big Bang Theory, Friends, or How I Met Your Mother. Which is your 1 to 3? Well, I never watched How I Met Your Mother. So I guess it would go... I like Big Bang Theory a little bit better. So it would go Big Bang Theory and then Friends. Zach says, how do you think The Acolyte will do? I'm not sure. I got to see. I haven't seen it yet myself. I hope it does well. I mean, the industry is having a rough time, so I would like everything to be good. Brock52 says, would you recommend The Fall Guy for a date night movie? That's tough. I thought the movie was a little hard to sit through, but it is very romantic. So I think it could help in that regard. Rashad, I'm not going to react to Wicked because it came out on the same day as the X-Men finale, and I had a Furiosa screening, and so it was just really bad timing. Brandon Freddy says, love visiting locations from a show or movie, but it's so frustrating when you see a place you love show up in a movie, and it's actually not that place at all, and clearly a set. Yeah, that's happened a few times. Or they're trying to go around in New York, and you're like, you would never go that way, or that's not that close to that. Blick says, hey, Grace, just got home from teaching at film school for newer students. Oh, you're training a new level of film talent. That's very exciting. Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, do you think Marvel or DC will ever be brave enough to go for the quote-unquote male gaze and have a woman here or do you think they're too sheepish? Well, they're never going to go to the degree that they do for their male characters because that's just not where we are right now in society. I think they would get a lot of heat for that. Understandably, I have to say. I just think it's different where we are right now. I mean, if they want to pull back on how they're handling the guys, that's fine. I do think maybe I think what was so great about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, at least at first, is that she and Patty Jenkins and everybody involved in that struck the perfect tone. So I would like to say it would be great to see someone along the lines of the Wonder Woman character who I think had broad appeal to men and women. Lawson was in the Galapagos Islands. Wow, what a trip. That's awesome. Ellie says, Megalopolis looks like an art gallery in film form. I would agree, Ellie. I think the best place for that to play is a museum. But it's too expensive for that, which is what makes it just so difficult to deal with. Aiden Bratt says, hi, Grace. Do you think Kate and Sam from Gen V will play a big role in season 4? Marie cameo? I think anybody in Gen V is fair game to show up, but I'm not sure how big their roles will be. I think they're going to be somewhat big. I agree that at least some of the time, Sam is probably Black Noir. Broke 52, you're right. John Carter is an excellent example of a movie that not a lot of people like, but that I thought was really a lot of fun. Agreed. And that's right, Resident Justice. I did think that Josh Trank's Fantastic Four, while I thought it really fell apart in the third act and was awful, and reeked of like studio interference, I thought like the stuff he was doing in the first act, all the way through the Doom escape, was compelling. Junior6288 says that his coworker and their wife loved Fall Guy. Oh, that's great. Some people like it a lot, even though it didn't do very well. Carmelo says, should I start Shogun this weekend or Housewives? I need a new binge. I'd say, oh, that's a tough one. Like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Is that what you're talking about? I mean, both of the second seasons for them are pretty far off. I guess go with Shogun, because everybody's into it right now. So I think it really depends what you're into. I mean, it couldn't be more different. Housewives is very light and bubbly, and Shogun is a very serious show. Thanks, WeC. That was very nice of you. Thank you for gifting those memberships. Let's see here. Stasis17 says, what Marvel or DC character do you think needs a show like X-Men 97? I don't know, because, let's see how X-Men 97 ends up doing in the ratings. I mean, it's been great for X-Men fans, but I'm not quite sure why it's not a bigger hit in the ratings, because it's just such an incredible show. So I'm not sure. On a coastal, I did see The Quiet Place Day 1 latest trailer. I thought they gave away way too much, but I'm extremely excited for the film. Diego says, hi Grace, what's your go-to midday snack? You know what I'm really into right now? Blueberries and raw almonds, dry roasted almonds, unsalted. It's a delicious snack. That's my new jam. Mr. Real Shane says, after watching Apes, do you think that Zelda, the live action movie, will be good? Well, as I said on Movie Math, I thought so, but then when I saw the audience scores for Apes, I got real concerned. Blair Wright, that's a very kind thing for you to say. What is one of my favorite songs to get in a happy mood? What an interesting question. I like, let's see. Right now I've been listening to, let's see, New York Groove by Ace from Kiss. I like that. That's been really making me happy. And then also, When Can I See You Again from Owl City. Those songs really help. Stephen Turner said, did you see Storm's new comic suit? I was like you, very nervous for next comic era, but the synopsis behind Jean and Storm's solos sound very promising. I haven't seen them yet. I'll check out the comics for sure. But, it's been rough for the comic book business lately. Ilya says, Grace, are you a pool or beach person? I guess the pool. I don't like nature. Last time I went to the beach, I stepped on a bee. It was not good times. All right, it's 2:27. Let's do. Let me just do shout outs. Where are you? What are you doing? What's going on? I wouldn't say X-Men 97 flopped Atom's Sphere, but it didn't do as well as like a live action show, I think. Celine, it's so nice to see you. Shopping for your niece's birthday present in New Jersey. Oh, I love New Jersey. I was just at American Dream last weekend. Let's see here. Chico is cleaning his parents' bathroom. Oh, that's very sweet of you. I'm sure they appreciate it. Dancing Dog 60 says, still at work in Boston for the next couple of hours or so. Oh, you're almost free, though. Teso says, I should try the beaches in Greece. I'm sure they're lovely. I would love to do that. Slade Stumbo says, hi, from another rainy day in Louisville. I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow. I'm always get upset when there's rain on the weekend. I'm like, you had all week to rain. Adam Sphere says, drinking coffee before work in Hawaii. Just another day in Hawaii. What a great day. Ricardo says, just planned a barbecue for tomorrow in sunny Edinburgh. Love from Brian and Ricardo. Hey guys, I hope your barbecue, I'm sure your barbecue will be fun. Michael McKenna says, planning a birthday weekend in Chicago, doing the full 48 hours. Yes, I am also of the school of like, I don't just limit things to holidays to one day. Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthdays, I feel they should take like a couple of days. Dan says, stuck at home because my car battery died. Aww. Anna Coastal says, thank you for answering my question. My pleasure, Anna. It's always so nice to see you. I'm in Indiana on my way to the bookstore. Oh, that sounds very charming. That's a nice Friday afternoon activity. Linda says, folding laundry here in Charleston, South Carolina. Resident Justice says, I'm going out to dinner tonight with my family for my birthday. Still debating if I want to see If or Not for my birthday. I love Ryan Reynolds, but I'm not sure about the film. Well, hopefully my review will help you. It'll go up like at around 3:30. Blair Wraith says, I'm currently in the country's biggest truck stop in Iowa. And it's like what? I think you have a typo there, but it's like some kind of mall. That sounds like really cool. That sounds very cool, Blair. Linda Jordan, you have a great weekend too. Brandon Freddy says, finishing work on my new iPad with you floating in the corner. Woo, woo. Let's see here. Rashad says, just got back from my nephew's first grade graduation and now about to head to my other nephew's fifth grade graduation. Proud uncle. Oh, you sound like a great uncle, Rashad. You're just great overall. I'm sure your family's very lucky to have you. Let's see here. Senior Lullaby says, going to dinner with the fam and Top Golf or mini golf for my birthday tonight. Happy birthday again, Senior Lullaby. Mini golf is fantastic. I played Angry Birds mini golf for Mother's Day last weekend at the American Dream Mall, and it was a lot of fun. Let's see here. Hey, Danny. Have a good shift in Guatemala. And Aiden Williams says, hey, Grace, I'm at work at the car lot right now. Can't wait to go home for the weekend. Oh, so are you a car salesman? That's interesting. My uncle's a car salesman. Let's see here. Andre says, relaxing at home with my cat. Her name is Ahsoka. Older Ahsoka is very cat-like. Polly says, putting away groceries in Ohio. You got the chore done. Now you're ready for fun. Let's see here. And then Michael McKenna says, doing Top Golf is part of the... So you're doing golf too? What's Top Golf? Is that some kind of mini golf? Let me look this up. I'm intrigued. What is Top Golf? What is this? Looks like real golf. But like you just shoot balls? Oh, I see Top Golf is a company. It looks cool. Don't you just hit balls? I've done that at Chelsea Piers. That was pretty good, actually. But boy, do I need to wear gloves because I got bad blisters on my hands. Made me sad. Isaac, I've never been to Top Golf. We don't have any here in New York City. It's like batting cages with golfing. Yes, we have that at Chelsea Piers, and I have done that. And as I said, I really tore up my hands. So if I do it again, I would go downstairs and buy some cool gloves. Lindsay says, when you're driving down the highway and you see a big net, that's Top Golf. That should be their advertisement. You see that big net? That's us. I've gone bowling. I was bowling recently. That was really fun. It was really funny. There were some guys next to us, and I was doing really well. And I heard one of them say to the other, "We got to be able to do better than this white lady." They eventually were able to do better. But that really made me laugh, and I was proud of my bowling. But that was funny. All right. Brock says, picking up my oldest 3 daughters from school in Jacksonville, Florida. Looking forward to a pool day tomorrow. Oh, that sounds funny. That sounds fun. Oh yeah, Aubrey, I think you got to have a sense of humor. You should never take yourself too seriously, although I do value dignity and respect. But they were awesome. They were very nice guys. Let's see here. Oh, Michael, I didn't bowl anywhere near a 182, but I did get some strikes and spares, so I was very proud of myself. Lisa says, made it back from walking the dogs and the stream is still on. That's right, as Michael said, we waited for you, Lisa. And a little bit of wonder says, I'm preparing dinner here in Bull. All right, I better get going. I love seeing you guys. There were no bumpers, SMR Goose. Don't spread rumors. I don't use the bumpers. Oh, Bulgaria. Ah, yay. That sounds so nice. I love talking to you all over the world. Any sports that you're secretly good at, Grace, said Rashad. Well, back in the day, I was very good at basketball. I was pretty good. I have like some athletic ability, you know. I've never honed it. Like I'm usually pretty good playing sports for like the first hour or so, and then I lose it. And then I'm like, I'm not a professional sports athlete person. But yeah, I'm good at basketball. I played some soccer. I like bowling, as I said. I've done some pool. I get around. I'm always down for a good time, I think is more the thing. And I tried some golf. And I told you I was pretty good at golf. But I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like a very, very singular thing to do. And so I wasn't sure about it. You have a great evening too, Paulie. All right. You guys are great. Thanks, Lisa. I'm glad I seem scrappy. That means a lot to me because I know you're scrappy too. All right, everybody. Toodles. That's right, Ricky. Toodles, everybody. Toodles. I'll see you on Sunday for Movie Math. And then, of course, we got a whole new week of fun. And then we're going into Memorial Day weekend. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, everybody. Bye-bye.